you associate yourself with people that are like-minded and that elevate you.
Correct.
Right. That's great. And that leads me to my next point. One thing I enjoy a lot about your content is, again, as we establish, you're a real estate agent, and I've seen a lot of real estate agents posting their content. But what you do unique is it's not a house, it's not an apartment with the address and the caption. It's usually a tip or an explanatory caption where you're inciting positivity. You're helping with a healthy mindset and essentially well-being for people who have well-being. What made you sort of explore that sort of content, and what is your strategy behind positivity being implemented in real estate?
Yeah, no, I love that. Thank you for noticing that. I guess for me, like even before real estate, I've always just liked social media, the social media, posting side of things. Um, and I think what it is now is, social media, the internet, anyone that's looking into getting into real estate, whether it's buying, selling, investing, they can find a lot of the information themselves online now, right? They Google it, they YouTube it, probably before they reach out to a real estate professional. And so I know a lot of agents, they don't like that a lot of information is available, but I think on my end, it's either, you're either going to be a part of that or you're not, right? So you're either going to put out the information or you're not going to be out there at all. On the other end, so I know, there are some agents that specifically only post real estate posts, right? And that works for them. I know a lot of them that do incredibly well. I think for me, again, because I am more relational, I want to connect with people and I want them to understand, I guess, who I am as a person behind, the social media screen, behind the phone, so that they get to know and understand who I am, so that if they do want to work with me, we're most likely going to be a good fit together because we share the same values, morals, the same, perception on life. And that's where, I enjoy posting things on positivity. I enjoy, posting, of course, like buyer's tips, seller tips, things like that, because I want others that watch it to feel a little bit more comfortable. If they do decide to reach out to me, it's more like chatting with a friend versus chatting with, someone that you don't really kind of know. And it breaks that, I guess, awkward introduction moment.
Yeah, and I can tell you, again, I'm not a real estate agent and I've never worked in the industry, but I can see why your content's more effective than opposed to, again, everyone has their own method and we can't condemn them for that. But someone in film seeing you speak about mental health or well-being, one post particularly that I enjoyed and that comes to mind is you were on like a hiatus. You explained in one of your captions, like I took 2 weeks off and you were talking about a burnout. And that's something
Yeah.
I probably am experiencing myself. I don't know what it is. This past week, I've been a bit, not the most energetic self. And I'm just kind of concerned, but I feel like it could be that a burnout because I've just been doing these podcasts and these vlogs nonstop. And it just takes a lot of energy out of these, the editing and just putting it together really. And I'm sure you can relate. How do you avoid a burnout? How do you kind of prevent yourself from experiencing one again?
I love this question. Oh my God, Daniel, you're doing so good. By the way, your
Thank you.
podcasts are absolutely amazing. Your attention to detail is impeccable. So thank you for that. Yeah, I think I remember that post, and I think I've made other posts somewhat similar to that. And I really wanted to make it because, essentially, like, yes, let's say, you're in film, I'm in real estate. It's a completely different industry, but it's still entrepreneurship, right? You still have to set your own schedule. You still have to, do specific things just like an entrepreneur would. And burnout, I think, if anything, comes mentally, not so much physically, because we're constantly working our brains, thinking about what to do next, how to be more creative, how to, let's say, create more opportunities for us. But I specifically wanted to make that post geared towards whether it was, entrepreneurship or anyone, because I think with social media, it's great. on one end because, you know, it's filled with, you know, positivity. You know, you have so much influencers on there telling you to do this. You got to be on, you got to wake up at 5 a.m., you know, finish at 12 and continue to do so. And I really wanted to make that post because a lot of us burn out. And it's okay. I think when people are a little bit more worried about, you know, talking about themselves, either taking a rest, taking a break, because they think that it makes them look weak or it makes them look incapable of what they should be doing or what they can be doing. And I wanted to make that post to let them know that it's okay. You don't have to be on all the time. Your energy level doesn't have to be high all the time. You know, if you're doing 100% of 30%, like that's incredible already. And that's kind of why I really want to make that post. But how I avoid burnout is I definitely take breaks. Waking up early in the morning and having a morning routine for me is crucial. So getting my meditation in, my journaling in, personally for me, creates that peace and heightens my energy so that I'm able to move throughout the day and give to anybody that needs me, to give back to my clients, my friends, my family. I time block like a psycho. So I'll put in when I need to reach out to my mom, my friends. I found that in the beginning of the business, I was neglecting all of that. And which isn't good either, right? You need to have fun as well. You need to live your life. And so I do little things throughout the day so that I avoid the burnout. But obviously when it does pile up, I take a day. Right? I take a day, do what I want, you know, go for a drive, do something that really makes me happy. I know it's been a little bit harder with COVID, but there are lots of things I think that if you actually sat down and said, okay, what would make me happy? What would I be happy doing? Like, what would lift my mood? And then just go and do that. And that's totally fine.
Yeah, I think it's very important. That's something that I have to tell myself. And for anyone who's listening that knows being hard on yourself, it's okay to take a day off. It's okay to just embrace laziness and
Yeah.
veg out and just watch TV, because especially for creatives, it takes a lot out of you, and you need that replenishment. You need to get those creative juices going by separating from the work. A lot of times when I write, I step away from the laptop, and then when I return the next day, it's fresh in the morning, I'm ready to go at it. Or sometimes I might have to take a week off. So I think a lot of us can relate with that. And I think there's a correlation for sure with burning out. And I wanted to ask you, how do you deal with that? Like with the pressures, do you feel there's a connection to burning out? Do you think it's a lot of pressures of what you see on Instagram and what you see in the industry? Is there a competition that gets you to that point?
Yeah. I think definitely, again, in the beginning, I felt it a lot more because my database was not where it was now. I mean, till this day, I still have moments where I burn out. There's a lot, you know, that goes into real estate. It can be very stressful. Like, it's amazing because I get to help people tremendously, right? It's probably going to be the biggest investment of their life. But what people don't see is the good and bad that goes into it. You have to have a lot of conversations because it's so stressful for them. You know, you want to be there for them as much as you can. And sometimes that's, you know, calls at 10 o'clock just to calm them down or walk them through the process again, right? A lot of things are out of our control versus, you know, like, as you mentioned, the market right now is on fire, right? We're dealing with, you know, 30, even 60 offers on a property where only one person is going to get it, right? If you're in that 30 offers and you don't get it, you know, sometimes you have to have a conversation with people, and it's not a fun conversation to have. It's not
For
fun
sure.
to let them know that, you know what, hey, you didn't get the house, you know, and you have to have that maybe multiple times before they get you know, a property. And so for me, you know, day to day, I get a ton of calls, a ton of texts, and it's like, oh my God, how do I get back to these? Like, my instinct when I get a text, and I think for most people, it's you got to respond, right? You want to respond as quick as possible. People are reaching out, you know, through Instagram, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm like driving, I'm doing an offer. And it's that mentality that can build up so quick where you just feel overwhelmed. And then you just okay, right? And then that's what leads to, you know, burnout, the constant of, okay, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, I
Yeah.
gotta do that. And that's where time blocking for me has been a savior, where it's like, okay, what's super urgent and important that I need to do right now? So yes, you know, people can be calling me, people can be, you know, texting me on social media and emailing me and such and such. And so it's been important for me to really block out, okay, what takes priority right now? Before, when I first started, I was super unhealthy. I would wake up at 5 and I wouldn't go to sleep until 12. I would only eat one meal a day because I was so, you know, stressed and
Chaotic. Yeah.
whatever. Yeah. And so now I try to make sure that I balance it as much as possible so I avoid that. And it's the constant you know, being needed everywhere. So as soon as I put everyone in their little box that's reach out to me, like, okay, you, I'm going to get back to after I eat lunch, or, you know, you, I'm going to get back to after I work on this. I think for a lot of real estate agents out there, when we're being bombarded by texts and emails and calls, we're working on one thing and then we go to here and then we go to there and then nothing gets done and everything's half-assed. And I think
Yeah.
that creates and I can totally see you relating to this because you're in the creative industry. You want to do everything to the best of
Yeah.
your ability, and when you're being pulled from so many different angles, you're kind of, you know, you're 30% here, 25% there, and you're not giving your full. And that's what I think is one of the ways that creates burnout. And so for me to be able to put everything in their box and time block it has been a huge lifesaver for me.